Hi, parents and caregivers. Kat here, that parenting coach. Today, we're going to talk about something that comes up quite a bit for parents, quite the concern video games. Yep. More specifically, when gaming starts to take over the child's life. So, many parents will say things like, my kid only wants to game. They melt down when I ask them to stop. They used to play outside and now they just want screen time. They don't get any fresh air. They're inside all the time. If that sounds familiar, you are not alone, my friend. Not at all. And here's the good news in all of this. When you can understand what's happening in the brain, it becomes a lot easier to respond in a way that's actually going to work and get the end result that you want. So today, we're going to talk about what video games do to the brain, how to recognize when it's becoming a problem, why some kids react so strongly when gaming is limited, and then some practical ways to reset the balance in your home. Okay, so let's take a deep breath in and out, because every breath counts. So, what video games is actually doing to the brain? So, let's start with my favorite, a little bit of brain science. Did you know video games are designed to activate the brain's dopamine system? Right? And for those who don't know, dopamine is the brain's reward chemical. It's the same system involved in things like gambling, social media, and even, yes, substances. So every time a child, I don't know, levels up on his game, wins a match, unlocks something, gets rewards or points, the brain releases the dopamine hit, right? And so what does happen? That makes the brain just kind of say, wow, that felt really good. Let's do it again. We all know about conditioning, right? The problem is that the video games deliver very fast, very frequent rewards. And unfortunately, life does not. Not when you come from games. So that homework doesn't give a reward every 30 seconds. And cleaning your room doesn't unlock a treasure chest. Doing chores doesn't level you up in a kid's mind. So the brain starts to prefer the activity that delivers the most stimulation and the most reward, dopamine. And that's gaming. Yep, in a nutshell. All right, let's take a deep breath in and out, because every breath counts. So, some signs that gaming might be becoming a problem. Well, not every kid who plays video games is going to have an addiction. No. But there are going to be some signs that some parents and caregivers should actually pay attention to. So you might notice things like, your child only wants to game, loses interest in things that they usually used to enjoy. They become irritable or angry when asked to stop. They struggle to transition away from the screen / games. Their sleep is really starting to get affected. Either they're up all night or up early to play. And of course, school or just basic responsibilities start slipping to the side. That could be a sign. Another big one is that emotional dysregulation. And I think that's what parents kind of miss the link there. So when gaming becomes the main source of dopamine and stimulation for the brain can start to feel bored or flat without it. So when the game stops, the nervous system is going to crash. And that's when many parents and caregivers are going to see the yelling, the meltdowns, that this is unfair, I hate you kind of reactions. And it's not just attitude, my friend. Sorry. It's literally brain chemistry. So let's take a deep breath in and out. Every breath counts. Why kids react so strongly when the gaming is limited? Well, let me tell you, because this part is really important for us to understand. When the parent or caregiver starts to limit the gaming, kids often react with very big and very explosive emotions. And so parents often are led to think, that this is making things worse. It's not getting better. It's making it worse. What's happening to your kid? But what we're often seeing when this is happening is a dopamine withdrawal. When the brain has gotten used to a high level of stimulation and reward, removing it is going to feel really uncomfortable. It's going to be a threat. Stress response is activated. So, kids may experience irritability, boredom, frustration, emotional outbursts. Yeah, it'll be kind of tough. So, this is why the first few days of a screen reset is going to be the hardest, because the brain is literally recalibrating. But I think here's the important part. I think something that we can walk away with. If you ride it out, just ride it out for 3 days, my friends, the brain is going to reset. And so many parents tell me something so really interesting that I'm going to share with you guys. About a week or two, they start sharing and seeing things like, I feel like I got my kid back again. That one is actually really nice to hear. So let's take a deep breath in and out. Okay. So you can't remove something without replacing it. I think this is so important, my friends. And I think it may be one of the biggest mistakes that parents and caregivers often make. So they're going to take away that video game. Enough is enough. We get it. But often they don't replace it with anything. And you can't take something away without replacing it. The brain still needs dopamine, connection, and stimulation. So if gaming disappears and nothing is replacing it, the kids are going to feel bored and frustrated and a little bit uncomfortable. So may I encourage that you replace screens with things that support the nervous system. And one of those things would be connection. No, but seriously, things like movement. Oh, creativity. Time outside. Building stuff with your hands, right? Sports. And again, like I mentioned, connection, a lot of social connection, friend time, family time. The brain is still getting dopamine just from healthier, sustainable sources. Oh, that was a good one, eh? Yeah. So let's take a deep breath in and out. and talk about practical strategies for parents. Okay, so I think some strategies that are really going to help are things that are going to be predictable, like predictable limits. So kids are going to handle screens better when the rules are predictable, which means you got to be consistent. For example, be an example. No gaming before school. Gaming happens after homework. 2 hours on the weekends, right? Predictability helps the brain feel safe. It does. All right. Let's take a deep breath in and out. Second one. Give transitions. Stop. Wait. Yeah, like stopping suddenly, it's going to be really hard for the brain. So you want to try something like 5 minutes left. Finish this round, right? Put a timer on so they can see it, because that's going to help the brain prepare for that transition. And you're already being predictable, okay? So you no gaming before school and you only get it for an hour. So they already know this. So this is just giving them the warning is going to help the brain prepare for that next transition. And number 3, use connection as a replacement. So kids don't just lose games when the screen times are reduced. They're going to gain connection. So play board games, shoot hoops, go for a walk, cook together, do a puzzle, crafts. Connection is one of the most powerful regulators for a child's nervous system. I swear, it is so true. Okay, let me get a drink here before we go to number 4. Okay. Friends, you're going to have to expect pushback. And I think it's really important that we talk about this and we bring that up, because your child might be just a little bit upset at first if you're going to try to make any changes to their Wi-Fi, gaming schedule. And you're probably going to hear things like, you're ruining everything. All my friends play. But that doesn't mean you're doing the wrong thing. It really doesn't. It just often means that their brain is trying to adjust, and you're taking away a dopamine hit for them. So their brain is going into like threat mode, right? So you just need to stay calm and you need to stay consistent and you stay predictable with that limit. All right. So I think the next thing we kind of need to talk about is what kids actually really need. Because at the end of the day, kids actually need, at the end of the day, kids don't actually need unlimited gaming. What they need is connection, movement, play, sleep, relationships, challenges in the real world. And I'm sorry, friends, but I'm going to say it. They need to be bored. That's where creativity comes from. Now, video games can be really fun and can be a great part of life. So we're not saying no video games, but they really shouldn't replace life. Right? Okay. In closing, if you're struggling with screens and video games in your home, just know you are not alone. This is one of the most common parenting challenges right now. And the video game industry designed it that way. But when you understand the brain and you make small changes over time, things can shift. And parenting isn't about being perfect. Not at all, my friend. But understanding the brain and the nervous system really helps you to build a healthy relationship with your child and the child's world around them. You got this. Be sure to follow for more brain science and nervous system tips, and some and some practical parenting tools. Clearly, this is at the end of the video now. If you made it this far, really hit subscribe. I am so thankful that you're joining our community. Parenting can be hard and exhausting, and it really wasn't meant to be alone. So, you got this. Have a good night.